I don't know which one I'm going to be. I don't know if I'm going to be the long presentation or the short presentation. So it'll be interesting. I should probably say that I'm attending, but I haven't logged into this browser for the meetup yet. Anyways, what I told them that I wanted to talk about was something that basically kickstart me in like actually getting started building this type of stuff. So an overlay. I wanted to try my hand at one of those drop games that I've seen like CJ has. Oh man, I forgot the full name of his channel, and I don't want to screw it up by guessing. But I've seen a bunch of these like sort of drop games through like on a couple of these channels. I want to just try my hand at them. I don't know if I want to like. I don't know if I would leave something like this up forever. But also since I'm doing a lot of game dev type things on my channel, I figured it would be kind of fun to do. So that is why I'm pivoting over to do this instead of the game dev programming patterns temporarily. We'll be back to them after this. I do have 2 meetup talks coming up, and the other one is like both of them are going to be in JavaScript. So we will not be in Rust for at least like a couple days. That's it. Then we'll be back. All right, so I do have a plan for this. I kind of like created an idea. I'm experimenting with these boards that Kraken has. So we could see this. Can I make this bigger? No? Cool. Okay, so I can't make this any bigger. Then I'll just leave that over there. Let's go ahead and open up our terminal. All right, so documents, code, Brooks builds, and I think I'm calling it stack it. Vamp, good morning. I missed the first 2 minutes of the stream. What language are we using today? Oh, so today is going to be JavaScript. I'll probably use some P5.js too. And also, yeah. So I guess you missed the first 2 minutes of it. I'm pivoting away a little. I guess it's not really pivoting. I am sidestepping away and putting the programming patterns just on a slight back burner temporarily because I signed up for a meetup talk earlier in a month to at this meetup talk specifically, where I'm going to be discussing about how I built a Node.js. Oh, not a Node.js. I guess although there's an element to it, a JavaScript-based overlay for OBS in my chat that can be played over Twitch. So I figured after I promised that I'm gonna do a talk on how I did that, I should probably build the tool that would help my claim that I did it. So that's what I'm gonna do now is actually follow up on my promise for that. So I figure I'll use P5.js. We'll build it in as the overlay so we could actually see it being done as we build it. And I don't know how many days it's gonna take. We'll see. I'm not planning on having this be like a super high quality, like the best game that you've ever seen. I don't think I've ever done that for any of the games that I've made. I think it's more of like, I really want to show off what the technologies used are for this and whether or not you can prove that something like this could be fun or not, and whether or not it's worth spending more time on. So that's the plan today. So I have the stack it here. Let's go ahead and open up code here. And if the terminal, oh, okay, there it goes. And then I can do npx light server. Oh, I have to give it the specific. spot, and I want to use, let's do like 4,000. Oh wait, no, I think I'm doing that. Oh, I forgot. I created another server for this first. So last night I created, what is it? Oh, the Twitch chat proxy server. Let's go and start that up first. So this is pretty simple, a very, very simple server. If we could actually take a look at it really quickly. This is it. It's not really that much. Basically, I'm using a TMI made by Alka, who has, you know, I guess like he's a primary maintainer of it. And he comes to the stream every once in a while. So I'm using TMI to connect to Twitch chat and just listen for all the chat messages. And then if the chat message is hash drop, then it's going to send a WebSocket with drop as the only command. And so if I start this up, so npm start. So this actually doesn't do very much at this point in time. What I want to do now is go to OBS, and I have this like static game here. I want to go to properties, reset cache. Wait, how do I? It's 4,000, which I think it's running on 4,000. Maybe I need to flip to another. How do I make it? I actually don't remember. Oh, you know what? It's not this one. It's the other game that I would need to listen for. It's gonna wait until a WebSocket connects into it, which is theoretically the static game, but I don't think I have any code running for the static game, do I? So here's what's running in my overlay right now. And I just have a basic HTML. I have a main.js script here. Okay, no, it is. So we have a WebSocket that's connecting to localhost 8080. And no. Okay. I don't know if that's gonna go away forever. It's gonna try to load back up again. And what are you trying to load on? You're trying to load on 4,000. Oh, I haven't actually started this server yet. I started the stacket, so I need to start this guy next. Okay, so npx light server dot, and I think that's 4,000. Yeah, okay, so that starts in 4,000. So now if I switch the scenes away and come back again, actually, I don't remember if that reloads it. I don't think that does. Let's refresh the cache. Oh, that's not what I wanted to display at all. Why is that displaying my, that folder? Oh, that's so weird. Huh, why are you doing that? Let's see. I am serving the wrong folder, aren't I? I'm just serving, like I'm just doing the HTML. Let's see, let's go find out where you are. Light server here. Yeah, I need to go into the original server that I was in, which was Stackit. And then we're gonna do our light server here. So I was in the wrong folder, and I'm serving up the wrong stuff. And then here, I refresh the cache. There we go. Then that disappears. If we come back to here, now we can see that my chat server has authenticated and joined with my channel here. Okay, so that's a good sign so far. And what this really means is that I'm going to get this a console log every time somebody sends the message drop. But of course, I won't be able to see it in that browser because it's just the overlay. I can't see the console log from that. So I'm gonna have to load up developer browser here, and we'll go to localhost :4000. Open up this terminal, and so now if we do, I chose hash drop because then it won't come into conflict with the existing chatbot. So hash drop, and I get a console log here. So every time somebody says drop, I figure out who it is, and I think I can even see who did it. Oh, no, because I just send a drop. On the back end, I would be able to see who did it. Yeah, I sent drop. All the messages will show up here. So what I want to do first, let's take a look through my to-do list here. My first story is, as a player, I want to see the world. And I figured I wanted to do this during stream because if I'm potentially going to have this up and running during the stream, I want to actually see like how much this is affecting the viewership of it. So let's go ahead and create like the world. I'm thinking of like a ceiling type thing where it drops off. But now that I look at it, I don't necessarily want to take up a whole bunch of space. So maybe just something that moves back and forth. So I'm thinking I want like a tiny bit of skill at the least, even though there's still some randomness to it. So let's go into here. And I'm planning on using P5.js for this. So that's going to be the next thing I need, is to go download P5.js. Let us go download. Oh, right, it wouldn't be that. It would be because I have to go to like C or like MNT. Let's see. Okay, so mount C. Downloads p5.js to here. Okay, so that gives us our p5.js. I don't need that open, causing my the editor to go crazy. And then I found out the hard way. I can't. Well, I mean, I don't believe that I can. We could try it once. In index.html, if I switch this to type equals module, then I can theoretically in main use import and basically do import p5.js like that. And the question is, does it actually import and execute that code? If it doesn't, unfortunately, we're gonna have to use the old way because I don't necessarily want to like webpack up all of this stuff. So if I refresh you, yeah, it immediately nothing is happening here. And I don't think this is working. Because I don't think... let's try another hash drop. Okay, so that part's working. Let's see if I have access to like ellipse. No, it's not defined. So P5.js is not like existing for us. If I import star as P5 from, if I do that, also I don't know if this is auto refreshing these pages or not. So you're not defined. If I hit refresh, that wouldn't potentially be there. Oh, and then I remember what I ran into in the other one. The version of P5 that I want to use, this doesn't allow me to now have the setup and other stuff. So I think for right now, just to move forward, I am going to not use the import system, which would be nice if I could figure out how to get that working. Which means in index.html, we're going to keep this as just a normal type module. And then we're going to have another script source. And this is going to be p5.js. So if I do that, come back to here. Let's go to main.js. Make you, actually, we don't even need you at all. Let's go ahead and create a function setup and a function draw. These are functions that are going to be called by P5.js for us, and I can create an ellipse here, and then it's going to be like the X and Y positions. Let's do 50, 50, 150 is the size, and that will make it a circle. If I save that, we go back to here, try to refresh. Oh, you know what? I probably have to do a create canvas. Let's do 1920 by 1080, which is, I believe, what I'm streaming out. There's our circle. Now, I'm not seeing this auto refresh, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would probably see it over the white here, because I do have like this static game going for us here. So I don't think that we have a yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna have a any kind of like auto refresh for this. So I can go into stack here, I hit refresh, and there it is. So we can see that this circle is actually filled in white, and we're seeing that over in the top of the screen. So what this means is, I don't necessarily have to have this up. I could be coming over here and looking at the OBS side, and you can see live exactly what it's going to look like over it. So a circle over everything, that's not the best thing. What I'm thinking of, and initially I thought like, okay, I could have like water going over everything. If I have like water, the source, that would be covering down here, all of my start menu, which I'm not sure is that big of a problem. So maybe let's do that. So let's start by function draw arena. What makes the connection between a web page and OBS? Is that just a feature of OBS? Yeah, it actually is. Let me show you. So everyone, this is going to be a little bit interesting, because if I show you OBS, we're going to get the fun mirrors of infinity effect. Make you as small as possible. There. Okay, so here's what the OBS looks like. Here's my screen that you're looking at right here. Oh wait, you know what? If I do that, you won't be able to see what I'm looking at specifically. So let's do this. So in my main scene right here, I have the Stack It game. And so if I double click this, actually, let me go right click. If I add, it's a browser scene. And that's how I create my starting soon as well. So it's just basically saying, hey, there's a browser behind the scenes that loads up on top of this. And so if I double click on you, I can then say, okay, well, this is where you listen at. If I tell it to like listen to google.com or something, it will just load up google.com and overlay it on top. Everything that doesn't have any color or anything else on it is completely transparent. So as long as I don't put everything on there, it's just floating on top. And that's how a lot of the overlays that a lot of streamers use, how they work. They just have some kind of web page somewhere that's like doing all those weird animations that if you just look at the website itself, it's kind of weird. It's like, why is that like, why is the little weird dice thing falling over there? Okay, whatever. But then in the context of the stream, it makes a lot of sense. So back to over here. And so we have, I want to draw this this arena, the Stack It arena. So I think draw like background maybe. So the first thing is I want to fill it with some kind of blue water. So I'm gonna do a fill, not a file list, a fill, and then this is gonna be some kind of color for that. So I'm thinking, let's start with like 250 RGB, that's red, 0, 0, 255. This will be pretty powerful blue. Probably not exactly what I want. And then I'm gonna want a rect, not a client rect. Okay, so the start and the end. So we know where we want to start at the far left. We want it to start almost all the way down. So this is gonna be the height minus however tall this this is. Let's go like maybe 10 pixels. Our width is going to be the entire width of the window, and then the height of this, which would be like 10. So if I do that, save you, and then in draw, instead of this ellipse, I'm going to reset you to run draw background. Save you, and then I have to come back over to... did I close that? I closed that. Open the Stack It game and just refresh that. Okay, so I see it like down here, but it's nowhere near tall enough for that. So let's increase the height. Also, I'm using like this number would make sense to be more up here. So I'm gonna leave like, here's my WebSocket stuff. I'll deal with this later. Let's for right now do let. This is gonna be our heights, and something I learned recently that I think makes a lot of sense is we can do something like a world size, like a standard world size unit, world unit size. And so 10 was less than half. So let's do maybe like 25. And now this will be a standard world size. Save you, refresh you. Oh, so close. Let's try 30. Okay. So there's my water, and we can do little things like maybe make blocks out of them and have them like go up and down for animations. But for right now, that could be our source of water. And I don't necessarily think I want anything like covering over the top, and I don't want like walls on the side because I want those to be like set up for me. So I think that's just like the only background that I have. So I mean that makes it pretty cool, easy. Go back to get cracking here, and I'll just say, okay, I want to see the world. Done. Let's also find stack it here and git commit this. So scene world in OBS. Oh, right, I forgot that when I'm in the, I can't actually do this stuff here. I have to use the terminal, which is not really that big of a problem. Let's create another terminal here. The reason for that is I have to figure out some way when I'm inside the Windows subsystem for Linux, things outside of it have trouble with permissions. And I'm sure I could figure out like what exactly is going on and fix it. I just haven't taken that time. So let's say git add dot status, didn't add too much. All right, so let's commit, and this is going to be added water. And I'm going to push that up. I have a command. If you do bang repo, that's the link to where this code is living in GitHub. So you can go take a look at that. Okay, next up. What's my next story? As a player, I want to see the box dropper. Okay, let's go take a look at that. So I'm thinking, like, my initial theory was I have like a ceiling, which might make sense if I was controlling everything, but I don't necessarily want to cover the very top of the screen with something like across everything, so I can have, like, you know, a box dropper showing. So I'm thinking something very small to indicate that that's where the box is going to come down. So let me, I'm thinking just like 2 little lines for right now. If I could find a little art, something that would be better. But as a sort of like test, I think that could work. So let's do function draw box dropper. I'm gonna call this immediately, so I can't forget to do that. And then here, I'm thinking for right now, this is just gonna be two rectangles. So we're actually gonna need location for this. We need everything else. You know what? Instead of call like box dropper right here like this, let's actually let's create a class for this. So over here, I'm gonna make a box dropper.js and index.html. Okay, so we're gonna pull in our box dropper, and that means we can now use it. So we have class box dropper. I don't necessarily, well, we need to know its location. That's the biggest thing. We need to know its location. So we are gonna need a constructor. I'm not necessarily going to tell it exactly where its initial location is. I think we can just do this.location equals create vector and then its initial location. So we know XY's. If I start at the very left of the screen, I think that should be fine. So we could just do 0 is where the X is, and the Y should also be 0 too. It should always just be stuck to the top of the screen. We're gonna want a height and a width for this. So this dot, and I think we want the box, we want each box that it drops to be a standard world like width. So we want this to be like slightly larger than that. So it looks like it's like sort of just dropping through it. Of course, it could just be a some kind of like colorful thing. Oh, okay, so if we're looking at a cross section in 3D, if you just have something that's covering you and then something drops out from behind it, it doesn't matter that you like see it spawn in right here. You just sort of see it fall through. That's what we want to do. So we just want a box that's going to be just slightly larger than the standard world width. So let's do this dot size. Yeah. I'm gonna have it be a square. So this dot size is probably fine. And this is gonna be the world width plus some amount. So let's go ahead and world unit size. This should be a global for us. So, and then plus maybe like 5. And then we're gonna have to have a color for it. Okay, so we're gonna create a color. And this is generally RGB. I could do red to begin with. So 235, 0, 0. So location, size, and color. Let's go ahead and get this drawn out onto the screen. And so that's going to be we want some kind of render function. So a render method that then just draws it out itself to the screen. And so we want a fill with this dot color. Then we want to create the single, I guess it's a rect, it's more of a square though. So a rect, our X is going to be this dot location dot X, this dot location dot Y. Our width is going to be this dot size, and our height is going to be this dot size. Okay, so if I do that, we have our box dropper in HTML here. I should now be able to. You know something else I noticed? Okay, I can create the variable for it. So let box dropper, but I can't use it yet because this code is going to run ahead of time, but setup is going to wait for all the files to be loaded before it runs. Here I can say box dropper equals new box dropper, like that. It doesn't take anything in, and then in draw I can do box dropper dot render. Save that, and let's. I guess when oh no, here it is. Oh, I don't see it showing up. Oh, that's because I have an error. Box dropper dot render is not a function. I thought I created it as a function. Yeah, here it is, render. Does not want render. Should we call it like draw? Boxdropper.draw is not a function. Okay, so let's. So we're running boxdropper here. So here's our class boxdropper. We have the constructor and we have a method on here. When I run this, yeah, console.log, I can actually see, did we get here? Save that. Okay, so it's calling the constructor. Did I forget to like use the new? No? New box dropper. So then if I console log a box dropper right here, I should be able to see lowercase b. Oh my! Ah, you got it. You got it. Thank you, Vampire. Yes, you are. Oh man, that is correct. Autocomplete did me a wrong. Also, do I have? I don't know if I have. Oh, with the Windows subsystem version of code, I don't have the Twitch highlighter set up. Okay. So save you. We don't need this console log anymore. We know it's gonna work now. You. We don't need you anymore. Oh, you're gonna work. So now if I refresh the current page, there is our box chopper and it's all its ugliness. You're not really using autocomplete that I can see. Those ABCs don't count. I'm trying not to, but autocomplete is kind of working, kind of like just messing up for me. But I might have just like typed that out with accidentally hitting shift too. Also, good morning, Viable Clan member. The ABC is just string recognition, not okay, yeah, it's just doing the string recognition. That's true. It's not like reaching into the code to sort of see it. Although in some cases it kind of is, because it told me that draw returned void. So it's almost there. Okay, so I have that, and then the last part of this is I want it to move left and right. Across the world, and that's going to be the skill/random portion at the same exact time. So we're going to want a speed, a velocity for this. So if we do this dot, do I want to have like speed be a separate number, or we could just do like an initial velocity? I think that would be fine. So this dot velocity is going to be equal to a create vector, and I want it to move positive first because I'm starting at 0. So that's going to be something like 5, and we want it stuck to the top of the screen. Okay, that should be good. Now we're going to want an update method, and in update we want to just add our velocity to our location. So this dot location dot add this dot velocity. That will make it move continuously. So in our main, unfortunately, so draw is the only function we have. So I'm going to have the updates happen first. So update all the things. So we're going to do our box drawer dot update, save you, and you now move across the screen. It's not necessarily cool that it like leaves that smear across everything, and that's because we need to clear the screen every single frame. So we're going to clear. Not a clear interval. React Spring. I'm not. Is that I'm not using React or is that like Java Spring, like for that, like a server for that, or I don't know. Oh, it's a way to move objects on the stream. Oh, that's cool. So. By adding in clear how now, every single frame it clears the screen so that it looks like just a box and not like a smear of a box as it leaves little pieces of it behind. That sounds pretty cool. I may have to check that out. Does it have to use React, or is it just React is part of the name but it doesn't really mean anything? That's pretty cool, where you can do full physics. I don't think I'm gonna need full physics for this, but if I do like switch over to that, that might be pretty pretty interesting to explore and like refactor into. So thank you, viable clan member. All right. So I have the box. It moves across the screen. I now want it to bounce off of the end and sort of like come back. So this is going to be in our update method here. We want to determine, are we colliding with the edge. So I think this will be something like if this dot is colliding with edge. So if that is true, then we want to reverse our velocity, which is pretty simple. We can just do this dot velocity dot molt with -1. So that will reverse it. But we'll run into a problem every once in a while based upon the speed of this, which we might run into or might not. Hey Chantilly, good morning. So if this colliding with edge, so we need to write this function now. So is colliding with edge. We just need to return a calculation. Is on the right-hand side, are we at this edge yet? So this is going to be this dot location dot x plus this dot size. So if that is now greater than the entire width, or are we going off the left-hand side? So this dot location dot x, if that is less than or equal to 0. This should be an equal, less than or equal to, because if it's exactly at that, time for us to turn around too. So we're going to return that as a Boolean. Then we'll reverse where we are. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so now we have our box dropper on the top of the screen, just sort of moving back and forth like this. And this is where we're going to drop boxes out of. Space Invaders soon? Ooh, yeah, that would be a fun game to make too. I haven't played Space Invaders like decades, it feels like. All right, so we can see the box dropper. And so the next thing I have is, as a player, I want to command a box to drop. All right, that's the real fun part, right? That's where we get to see things like actually drop down into this entire zone, as it were. Maybe someday I'll add in the ability for us to like add in a color for right now. But I think we can do a random color just for now. So we're gonna need a box. Let's go ahead. Well, before I do this, let's also save all this stuff. Oh, you want me? Okay, so I'll push this up later so I don't have to accidentally expose my SSH key, because that was always fun when that happens. All right, just those things. All right, git commit. We are committing the box dropper is on screen and moving. You can check the chosen color from the Twitch profile. You are green. Oh, interesting. That is a really neat idea. I like that a lot. I'm going to update. So I'm going to add in a card here, which is, as a player, I want my, and I'm really sorry that this is like such small font. I unfortunately can't seem to increase the size of this. As a player, I want my my box to be the same color as my Twitch profile. And I'm gonna put this as viable clan member. You suggested that one. I am putting it to the end, so if I don't get to it, it's not the worst thing. Microsoft Magnifier. Do they actually have that? Is that a thing? I wouldn't be surprised if that's a thing. Yes, of course. Oh man, do I have that? How do I? Oh, okay. That. Okay, I have a lens that's literally exact same size. Okay, that's, I mean, it's a little bit weird. I don't, it's a little bit distracting. Maybe up. Next up, coding via Cortana. Oh, yeah. I think that was the first thing I just disabled and told her, no, I don't want you. You go crazy and kill everyone, I think. I haven't played the games. But I'm pretty sure that's what happens when you use Cortana. Okay, so. Where was I? I distracted myself quite a bit. We want to actually drop a box. Okay, so I'm thinking we have this on message come in right now. We're just console logging out whenever we do hash drop. So we probably want some kind of queue and then remove from the queue every time that it comes in. And that way, when a message comes in that we want to drop, then we just go ahead and drop it at that point in time. And on message, unfortunately, I think, you know what I can do? I can put these inside of setup. So these don't happen until we begin running the game here. So that's perfect. And then this way, I guess WebSocket, this could happen up here. It's just more of on message, just like the box dropper. But now I can have, I know that the game has started and everything is going on by the time these boxes gets edited in. So let's create a const boxes and we'll make this an empty array. And so this can be kind of like a queue. So first in, first out. Then we're gonna need a box to add into the queue. So let's go ahead and create a box here. Box.js. And an index, because we're doing this nice and cool like this. Script source. Box for you. And now we can start creating this. So do class box. We're gonna need a constructor just like the other ones. And we'll have this dot location. Now we won't know the location that we need to create the box because that's actually gonna be wherever this this box dropper is. So we're gonna need the box dropper for that. So constructor, so we're gonna take in the location. We're also gonna take in the velocity, so we can get the velocity of the box dropper as well. I could just take in now I think I should just take in location and velocity separately and not the box dropper, so that this way the box doesn't have to know exactly how the box dropper is implemented. This dot location equals our location. This dot velocity equals our velocity. Okay, so that's going to be its location, and it's going to start falling. So that means we need to, our velocity is going to be left and right only. We need to make it also be going down. So let's immediately set this to this dot velocity dot y. We want you to be going down in some fashion. So equals, for right now, let's just do a random number between like 3 and 7. Now, I actually don't know. I used a whole bunch of randomness in a previous game, and it feels really nice when I'm starting it, but it always feels like I don't want to do it. So I'm going to see how far I can get without using random numbers. So let's just do this as 5. It's going to be the same speed to begin with as our box dropper moving back and forth. So we have our location, we have our velocity. We've now set the velocity y. So going down, we need a color. So this dot color. I am gonna make. Let's start with like just making this green for right this second. This is gonna be color 0 to 5 0. So that way we're getting the nice RGB like primary colors here. We're gonna want a render method. That's your color. It's not gonna be exactly your color though, unfortunately, or at least not on my screen. You've copyrighted it. Oh well. Okay. Good thing it's not exactly Viable Clan member's color, so he can't get us for copyright infringement. Although in this case, wouldn't it be trademark? That's like your brand color. Okay, we have our render. We want to fill with the color. So fill with this dot color. And then we want to draw the box of where it is. And this is going to be a standard size. So we don't really need to have its own size here. This is going to be just a rectangle. So our X is going to be this dot location dot X, this dot location dot Y. The width is, we have this world unit size. So world unit size and world unit size, it's width and height. Okay, so if I do that, and then we're gonna want an update to update the velocity so it falls down. So update, and we're gonna say this dot location dot add this dot velocity. And so now it'll just come in at, I guess at an angle to the right, always. Okay. Now let's hook this up. So in main, when we get a new console log event, instead of console logging this, let's go ahead and add this to boxes. So boxes.push new box. And so this, like here's autocomplete is working for us. We know it needs a location and a velocity. So the problem is we need this to happen after our box dropper, so it can be aware of what that is. So our box dropper dot location dot x. No, just box dropper location dot clone. And then the velocity, box dropper dot velocity dot clone. I think this will work. I don't think it's going to give it like, if I gave it the exact same location, then if I updated though, they would actually mutate each other, which would not be good. So I want to do a deep copy of them and then hand it to a new box here. And then in our boxes, we want to now just draw, we want to loop through these all and draw them. So we want to draw the boxes first, say are behind our box dropper. So let's do, we have update, and then here is draw all the things. Let's now loop through. So this dot boxes dot for each. We're gonna get a box, and we're gonna call box dot render. And then an update. We're gonna do exactly the same thing, except we're gonna update. Now I know that like I could do them all together, like hey, update and then render. I really do think that it's good to have these separated out, so that way I can do different types of math or potentially render it twice. In traditional game loops, that you definitely do this twice essentially. So if I refresh the cache, cool, that disappeared, meaning that there's some kind of error here. Can't access property for each. This dot boxes is undefined. Why did I do this dot boxes? I didn't want that. There we go. So refresh. You're back again. Oh, that's funny because this is 1024. We're seeing only half of it, so it disappears for a little while. And so let's see what happens if we try to drop a box. So that's a hash drop. Cool, error. Boxdropper.location.clone is not a function. Is it copy? It might be copy. Okay, so if I do that, refresh the cache, let's try it again. Hey, did you see that? Let's do it again. It drops out. It drops out. Okay, so that's pretty cool. It looks like, oh, because I'm doing the Y. So the Y is 0. But the X, oh no, okay, so I think this is fine. I do want the Y, the X, the Y is in the same location, and then the Y going down. Okay, I think that's fine. Maybe I want this velocity for the box. Y might be a little bit too high here. We can do like 2 or so, and so that way like it'll bounce across the screen as it comes down. So if I do that. Refresh our page. Then I want these boxes, as they render and come down, I want them to bounce off the screen, left and right. So in update here, this is going to be exactly the same as our box dropper. And so the question is this something that I want to now move into a like a shared superclass and like have inheritance working with this? I don't know off the top of my head. I might want these to update separately. Although we do know right now is we need some kind of colliding with edge. So for right now, I'm gonna just copy this function and use it over here. So is colliding with edge, we have this location of X plus this, ooh, we don't have a this dot size. So maybe to make this work, we're gonna need a this dot size equals world unit size. And so now instead of world unit size like this, do this dot size. Okay, so this should work here. And then we'll have in our update the exact same thing that we did before. This dot, let's see, if this dot is colliding with edge. So if we're colliding with the edge, we want to reverse our velocities. We just want to reverse the X velocity, not the Y velocity. So this dot velocity dot X times equals -1. So we're gonna save that and refresh. And so now when it hits the the sides of the screens, it should bounce back and forth. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so and it bounces back and forth. Okay, so that works. Now it comes off the bottom of the screen, and that's the idea there is, I mean, it's gonna keep on going because I'm not removing it, but I'm eventually gonna want something for it to land on. Let's take a look at where I am with Get Cracking here. So as a player, I want to command a box to drop. Okay, we're doing that. We command the box to drop. As a player, I want to have my box stick when it hits the platform. So I need to, like, the next thing is going to be creating a platform to have it stick. So before I start working on that, let's go ahead and commit. Okay, so this is going to be, we want to commit and git commit. What is this? Created the box that falls down. Okay. Now we need a platform. So same thing as previous. Let's create a platform. .js. We'll go into our index. Add in the platform here. And we'll do class platform. We'll have a constructor. So we'll have this dot location equals create vector. Where do I want my platform? If I create it somewhere like in the middle of the screen, I don't know where I want to put it to like make it the least like obstructive. But let's say we just do it right in the middle. So let's figure out what our size should be first. So this dot size. We're gonna want maybe like a width and a height. So this dot width equals, I want it to be the exact same width as this one. So that's gonna be our world unit size. This dot, actually no, that's the height. I want it to be the height to be the world unit size. This dot width is gonna be, I don't know, maybe like we do 10 world unit sizes. And if I do if I make it a multiple world unit sizes, that will make it like very a nice math for calculating if a box is touching it. So let's do this dot width equals world unit size times like, I don't know, five of them. That might be too hard to hit, but we'll see. Now our location, we want it to be the exact center of the screen minus half of the width. So the X here is going to be this dot, it's actually gonna be the entire width of the world minus this dot width divided by 2. And then the height, where we're gonna start it, is gonna be height minus this dot height. Okay, so that gives me the location. Let's do a color. So color equals color. If I do something like a red and green combined together, what is that? Maybe green and yellow is, green and blue is yellow. So let's do 0, 255, 255. I think that might be enough for us to do this. So if I do a, we don't have anything to do for update right now, but we're gonna have a render. So we're gonna start by filling with this dot color. And then we're gonna do a rect All right, so the X location, this dot location dot X, this dot location dot Y. The width, this dot width, this dot height. Okay, so if I do that, now the other thing is I want like all of my, I don't necessarily have a reason to have update on here. I just think it, well, let's not even put it in. If we don't need the code, let's not have it in there. So we have our platform here. Let's go ahead and create that platform, and we'll actually create it here. So platform equals new platform. And then in draw, we're gonna draw this. I probably want to draw this at the very end here. So we want platform dot render. Now, this looks kind of weird having that be a draw. Let's turn this into a render too. So that's the box dropper. You're a render now. All right, let's see if we've got a box. Oh, is that it down there? Is it specifically compatible with OBS or a Twitch thing or both? Right now, it's specifically compatible with Twitch, but the only reason for that is my I have a chat bot that's listening to Twitch chat. If I put this into some other Twitch type thing or like some other chat, then it would work just fine with that. So I didn't do this correctly. You know what? I think in my platform, I did my X incorrectly here. So location, it's width. This needs to be, okay, this needs to be width divided by 2 minus half of this. That's what I need. There's my platform. That's not yellow. Is it red and blue is yellow? Oh, I think it's red and blue is yellow. Not green and blue. 255. Yeah, so this could be connected between all the things. Is it drawing it through other stuff? Why is that magenta? Is my just like internal color wheel just like way off for what it is, or am I just like, am I crazy, or just I not know how to do colors? I mean, this is fine. It's just not exactly what I expected. All right. So we have the platform, and this will be the target for where you want to go towards. Which should be like the theory is there's no randomness about this. At least in my code, there is randomness in the lag between my stream and what you're seeing. Because I can actually see the lag itself, it's pretty good. Like by the time it's at the center for your screen, I'm seeing it on the right-hand side on mine. So you have to predict where it is based upon like your try and drop commands to try to get it onto the platform. Red plus green equals yellow. Red plus green. Red plus, okay. 255. Let's do that. There we go. Okay, so it's just me not knowing how to do colors. I need to have like a color wheel up in my room somewhere so I can like see what I want to do. Especially since I like work with colors enough. Bot listens to Twitch, sends commands to overlay updates and OBS. Yeah, essentially, since the overlay is just a web page, I can open up over here. Like here's the overlay in its full glory. And OBS is just taking this web page and essentially minus like all of this, you know, top menu bar and URL bar. It's just overlaying the page on top. And anything that's white here it's transparent, so you can see me in front of it. So if I minimize you, then you see all of this stuff. So it's actually a really cool system the way OBS has it. Now, we're in the middle of this. As a player, I want to have my box stick when it hits the platform. I don't have that, but however, it is past my time to leave. So you can't make white stuff or any configurable color, I guess. You know, I can make white. It's more of a lack of color is transparent. So the way HTML and CSS work is if there's nothing there, it's just literally nothing is there. And so nothing is see-through and transparent. If I say white, it will display as white. I mean, it's not even really alpha. It's just the browser itself displays white because that's what the browser's window is. It's an interesting sort of like it's an interesting idea. I could totally screw everything over by like telling P5.js to render like a background, like a white background, which would then cover everything up and completely make it not that great of an overlay. But that being said, I am going to switch over to working on like my day, which means I need to go do a stand-up, meet with my team, like actually build things. But yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for asking these questions. I really like enjoy explaining them. I think overlays are really fun to make. Stand-up comedy. I was on a team once in the past where we did a joke at stand-up every day, and that was actually a lot of fun. And I think like our CTO sometimes does bad dad jokes when he does this. So let me make sure this is saved. Let's do git status. Nope, we have this. So add a dot, git commit. So this is in the middle of it. So work in progress, making boxes stick to the platform. And I'll push this up probably after my stand-up, so that you can go see it. I do have a chat command bang repo, and that shows you where this code is. And with that, I think it's time for us to end. So I'm gonna set up a raid to Coding Garden's channel. That's CJ. He's doing just chatting for this. Let's go ahead and start that raid off. I'm gonna switch over to my ending screen. Thank you everybody for stopping by watching. I'm doing these streams every single weekday morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time for about an hour and 15 minutes or so before I have to go and do my day job and work things. If you want notifications for when I go live, you can follow me on Twitch or on Twitter, which I have links down below, or you have chatbot commands for them. So with that, have a great day, and I will see you next time. And where's the raid button? Okay, hit into raid now. Let's be awesome to CJ, and we'll see you the next one.